Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Well, proud Wexford man Barry Doyle has made his own piece of history by becoming the youngest ever president of Chartered Accountants Ireland. Barry joins us now to discuss the dynamic role of the accountant in the modern business environment and his vision for his tenure as president. But Barry, talk to us first about your time growing up here in Wexford.
Good morning, Karl. Delighted to be here. Yeah, look, I originally from Rosslare, as you say, Karl, and went on to St. Peter's for secondary school. And I had the pleasure of actually going back to St. Peter's College, got to meet with the transition year students in there to tell them a little bit more about what life is like being a chartered accountant. And well, I have to admit, I might have gotten the shivers a little bit going back in through the gate. It was really nice to be back to see the school, see how it has changed even since my time. So yeah, look, always happy to get back to Wexford whenever I possibly can.
And before we discuss your vision for your presidency of Chartered Accountants Ireland, your own career has seen you work for organisations such as Fox Corporation and Mark Little's Storyful. So what did you learn from working with these companies?
The biggest lesson I learned is that I love to work with growing and scaling companies. So I ended up working with Fox as a result of my training contract with EY. I trained as a chartered accountant in audit with EY in Dublin, had media clients, the likes of the Irish Times and tech companies like Oracle, were the types of companies that I worked on from an audit perspective. And when I qualified, I ended up going traveling, went to China, Southeast Asia, down the east coast of Australia, and probably not something that the president of Chartered Accountants Ireland should admit, but I ended up running out of money and in need of a job. And I was lucky enough to secure a short-term contract with what was National Geographic Channels. At the time, it was part of the wider Fox Group. That 3-week contract ended up being extended to over 2 years. And it was a growing business at the time. The playout of the channels had just been brought in-house, and we were scaling the business down there. And when I came back to Ireland in 2013, I had an opportunity to go into one of the largest companies in Ireland, or I had the opportunity to go into an early stage startup. And I chose the latter, and it's a decision that I've never regretted, and it has kept me in the world of startups and scaling businesses ever since.
You are now the investment director at Massive, the family office of Dan and Linda Kiley, the founders of Cork-based VoxPro. So what does that role entail?
Yeah, MASV, or Massive, we like to call it, is obviously the family office of Dan and Linda, as you say. And look, we work with entrepreneurs on their journey, be it through investment or advice or both. And traditionally, we focused on early stage technology-led companies. And look, I work very closely with the team in Republic of Work in Cork, which is an accelerator and innovation hub, as well as the likes of Johnson Hannah, legal services provider, or we've invested in the likes of Solid Road, an AI simulator for sales and customer support training. And so there's a very varied portfolio that we work with, but it's very much focused on entrepreneurs and on early stage businesses.
So what type of advice can you impart to scaling companies such as Johnson Hannah?
Always think international in your outlook. Ireland's a great place to start a business, but if you really want to scale and grow, you got to be international first. You've got to have that mindset. And you've really got to have that mindset from the get-go. It becomes quite challenging if you build a business centered around an Irish market to ultimately internationalize that business. So I always say to founders to think bigger, even at the earliest of days. Make sure that you have a clear vision and implement how you want to execute on that vision from day one.
Of course, as I mentioned, you are now the youngest president of Chartered Accountants Ireland. Provide us with an insight into Chartered Accountants Ireland in terms of its size and scale.
Look, it's a great honour to have been elected as president of Chartered Accountants Ireland, the Institute, as we refer to it. It's an organisation that is 136 years old. It was established under Royal Charter in 1888. So it comes with a great sense of honour and history. To give you some perspective in terms of how we've grown, in 1918, 30 years after it was founded, there was no female members in the institute. By 1980, just 1.5% of our members were women, and you contrast that to 2009, it had reached 30%, and today we're almost on track for parity with 46% of our members being women, which is a phenomenal achievement in a relatively short space of time and much more reflective of society. Our membership numbers have grown exponentially. 50 years ago, we had less than 1,400 members, and today we're nearing 40,000 members. And that really is testament to the strength and power of the qualification. And our members are literally involved in every single facet of our society, of business, of public sector, non-for-profits, the arts, and even our local communities. So the mindset of a chartered accountant is still a hugely valuable asset. And indeed, part of that growth in member numbers has come from our amalgamation with CPA Ireland just a few months ago.
And Barry, what inspired you to become the president of Chartered Accountants Ireland?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's something that I'm asked quite a lot, actually, Karl. My inspiration for getting involved actually came from my time in Australia. We have a wonderful network across the globe of district societies and chapters. We've almost 2,000 members in Australia, and we have an Australian society down there with sub-chapters in the main cities. And this really keeps you connected. And we like to say, once you become a member of Chartered Accountants Ireland, it's like a family. It's very hard to leave the family once you do become a member. And that connectivity when I was in Australia, the closeness to being at home and the power of the profession really struck me. And so when I came back to Ireland, it was something that I very much wanted to get involved in and ultimately ran for election to council in 2015.
And what are the priorities for your tenure as president?
Yeah, look, as president, you've just 12 months to make an impact, but you also have that 136 years of history to uphold and protect. And so there's a number of things that I do want to try and accomplish for the organisation itself. We've already managed to complete the amalgamation during my time, and my next goal is to ensure that we get a new strategy for the organisation, as well as a new brand and brand identity launched in the first half of 2025. We're also embarking on a significant digital and operational transformation program, and I want to make sure we continue to deliver on this and set us up for success in the future. But really for our members, I'm so passionate about the role our members play in our economy, in our society, and I want to be able to shine a light on what they do day in, day out, and to advocate on their behalf. We've thousands of members who work not only in business, but are employers themselves, and we have a role to play in ensuring that they are heard. And, the focus will be on SMEs and the cost of business. It'll be on FDI and a balanced economy, as well as infrastructure investments such as housing and childcare and its impact on business and the economy. And I suppose lastly, I just want to make sure that we continue to attract the next generation of talent into the profession. The role that we play as chartered accountants in society is so important. There's a real purpose to the role of a chartered accountant, and it's hugely important to me that today's students and our future members understand what the profession is about and the impact that they can have.
What drove the merger between Chartered Accountants Ireland and Certified Public Accountants?
Yeah, it's a great question, and the amalgamation has been hugely successful. It was the combination of two of the six recognised accountancy bodies in Ireland, and it was the combination of the only two Irish-based accountancy bodies. And it took place from 1 September, and really as an organisation, we're focused on integration right now and ensuring that we uphold a philosophy of best of both. We want to maximise the best of both organisation organizations for the benefit of our members. So that means we'll have a single world-class education program, but our members will have a dual designation. That means that they can benefit from calling themselves a chartered accountant and a CPA. We'll have an even stronger voice and a more unified voice as a profession to advocate for and on behalf of our members. And it means we'll become the largest professional body on the island of Ireland with almost 40,000 members. And we'll do all of this while delivering a financial benefit to the organisation, which is ultimately for the benefit of our members.
And of course, accountants are mostly associated with the role of the auditor. But there's lots more to the role of an accountant in recent years, isn't there?
You're dead right, Karl. We would have always been traditionally associated more with that guardians of the books and records and standing over historical sets of financials. There is even that old stereotype of pale, male and stale. And maybe the stats from decades past might justify that. But the profession is so much more now. You know, today, chartered accountants need to be able to look into the future. We take our core foundational training and skills that we're taught and apply that logic to data analytics to be able to read trends and even to be able to grasp emerging technologies so that we can help lead organizations, business and economies as a whole. And I think emerging technologies, cybersecurity and sustainability are three big items coming at us as accountants. And that we very much need to have a much broader remit, that element of trust. You know, we're one of the most trusted professions, and I think business and business leaders look to us to be leaders within organizations and to play a much broader role than just purely the numbers.
And on the topic of attracting the next generation into the accountancy profession, what would you say to those that may be concerned about the potential impact that artificial intelligence will have on the role of the accountant?
That's definitely a narrative that I've heard out there. But look, AI is here, right? It's not something that is in the future. It's here right now. And accountants are embracing it. For example, for us at Chartered Accountants Ireland, we added AI and robotics to our education curriculum over 7 years ago, and we've been continually updating that ever since. Our education program is and how it's delivered actually just won a global innovation award for our use of AI and automation. And we were on the stage receiving that with the likes of Intel. So we're very proud of what we're doing in relation to AI and automation. So I think that narrative that AI will decimate the profession of accounting and all the related jobs is just simply not true. The role of the accountant will change for sure, but the world will still need accountants. And in fact, we'll likely need even more. You know, I'll give you the example of Microsoft Excel. Everyone said that the role of the accountant would become obsolete. And the complete opposite was true. That technology allowed people to ask questions of the data. It allowed for forecasting and modeling to be done quickly. And so a whole new industry of financial planning and analysis was born. And so I'm an eternal optimist, Karl, and I'm determined to see AI as an opportunity. In my day job at Massive, we love to see investment opportunities in a space we call human meets machine. This is, where human skill is augmented by the power of technology. And for accountants, that means that technology takes away the mundane and the repetitive tasks, but frees us up for the value-add work. And it is that type of work that makes you proud to be a chartered accountant.
And Barry, with all of that in mind, how do you see qualifications for accountants evolve over the coming years?
Yeah, I think that goes back to the education. Ultimately, chartered accountants as members, we start off as students, as trainees. And I think we as an institute have a responsibility to ensure that our education curriculum and program remains fit for purpose, and it is training the future accountants for the skills that they are going to need into the future, but also to ensure that on the lifelong learning side, that our members continue to be upskilled, that we continue to provide support and ongoing lifelong learning in order to support them along their career path. We have members who are with us. I celebrated members with 50 years of membership only a few weeks ago, Karl. And so we have members that stay with us for their entire professional journey, and we're there to support them throughout that.
And Barry, finally, accountants have a unique insight into how businesses are performing in the Irish economy. So on that basis, what is your outlook for 2025?
Ireland is not without its challenges, and like you say, our members are in every aspect of our economy, in every single country, in every single town, up and down this country, across the entire island of Ireland. We are a representative body for the entire island and not just the Republic. And so our members, both north and south, probably have different priorities, different aspects. But fundamentally, for 2025, there is continuing positivity for business, for the economy, but there is challenges ahead. The cost of business is simply too high right now, which needs to be addressed. Infrastructure is something that needs to be addressed as well. Those points around childcare, around housing, and just general infrastructure to continue to attract inward investment on the FDI side.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Barry Doyle, the President of Chartered Accountants Ireland, and I wish Barry every success for the rest of his tenure.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.